Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I decided to build a gigantic mansion in Desert Valley on a 64 by 64 lot, and you can here see how I'm working on the foundation. I wanted to have a stilt foundation, and then I started to work on the pool right away. So I had a inspiration. I was just browsing Pinterest and I was looking at some stunning modern mansions, and I wanted to have this really amazing, almost triangular pool, and I wanted to have a custom pool shape. This is also why I decided to use a stilt foundation. My initial idea was to have a floating floor piece where I'm building a room at the bottom and then a floor piece on top, and when I'm then deleting the room at the bottom, I'm left with a floating floor piece. But then things would have been a bit more confusing, so I decided to just use a regular foundation and just use a stilt foundation. And at first I decided to lay out my pool's shape, and for this I've used a combination of two objects. One is a base game debug column. You can here see it, it's just like a concrete column or something. And then I've used the Spade Stony Goodness slab from Spade, of course, and I used a rug to have a guideline, so I just use it to have a perfectly round shape, and then I just get rid of the rug as soon as I'm done. And here at this point I have a really nice curve, and I just filled in the area in the center using the pool tool. And then I started to work on the landscaping and just the exterior area a bit already. I've used some hedges. These are from the Perfect Patio Stuff Pack. And as soon as I had filtered by Perfect Patio Stuff Pack, I just stumbled upon some amazing objects, which I then just randomly placed on the lawn. So I had them ready later on. And then I just continued to work on the pool shape. So essentially, I just used the base game debug column and this object here, as I've said, and I just placed each object in the correct positions so I would have a lovely curve. For this, as always, I'm using the Sims 3 camera. I'm holding down Alt on my keyboard and the left mouse button, and when you then move your mouse you can rotate objects freely, and this is all it takes. You don't need the tool mod for this. In this case I've used the tool mod to lower my columns into the ground, but you technically don't need this. You could just place them underground and raise them, but using the tool mod is just much quicker and easier. And as always, this build is still CC free and unmodded in the gallery, so you don't need the tool mod, you don't need anything. It's unmodded and CC free, and you can just grab it from the gallery, and my ID is KateEmerald. So building the pool was quite tedious, but also fun, and this is kind of the eye-catching feature of the house. And at this point I knew I just had to nail the pool, and then everything will be easy because after that I just had to build the house. Essentially the house will be super modern, as you will see, and I have missed houses like this. Like, honestly, like the last house was also a bit modern. I had recreated the house from John Wick, but I just wanted to build this like a typical modern mega mansion, totally over the top. I just had the urge to work on a build like this, and I enjoyed every second. It's just so fun. It turned out amazing in my opinion. I hope you feel the same about this build. And here I'm just starting to work on the house itself. Again, I followed a reference from Pinterest, and I just tried to just add some of my own ideas, and I just wanted to have this angled balcony, this roofing area. And we have like two options in this game. You build just a straight wall or a diagonal wall, and in this case the angle would be 45 degrees. As soon as you want to have a different angle, things become a bit difficult. And in this case, because I wanted to have a slightly different angle, I decided to do the same thing that I had essentially done for the pool. I placed some Spade Stony Goodness slabs, and I just placed them, and then I removed the floor around them, just the same way I would do for a round pool, for example. This way you can just create your own custom shapes. And I had also used a dark version of the Stony Goodness slab to just have a bit more, just a bit of a contrast, more dimension, just different things. And then I started to work on the area at the bottom. At first I didn't want to use the same debug columns for this, but then I just kind of tried different things, added more columns, and I then created this outdoor seating area. And I also started to work on the window facade. There are 2 levels on top of each other, all windows and a door at the bottom. And this area on the inside is also open. So I'm going to remove a part of the floor so you can just have this beautiful gigantic window facade on the inside and the outside. So it's really sun flooded, really bright, and I wanted this to be relatively simple. Like, I wanted this to be over the top, but at the same time I wanted to have this modern vibe and not add too many crazy things. So I just added these planters from Debug, from City Living, and just some plants, just a bit just modern, kind of just low-key decorating here and there, but it's just, of course, all in all, just gigantic and over the top. Here I'm using a rug essentially from Get Together, but you can find it in the rug section. You just have to go to the general decoration section, and where you see this little statue symbol, and there you can find it. I think it's supposed to be used for pools, so you can just decorate the bottom of a pool, but I like to use it for modern mansions a lot, and I was able to create this kind of pattern, like some stones you walk over or something on the lawn. And the lawn color I had used is from Eco Lifestyle. I can totally recommend it. It's dark, but it's this beautiful lush green, and it's just perfect for this look, for this vibe. So this is the grass color, which I'm always using for modern builds essentially. For the roofing, it's like completely flat, and platforms are perfect for this because it just makes your flat roofs look more interesting. It adds dimension, detail. You can just create some really amazing roofs using platforms, because for modern builds it can be a bit boring if you just have a regular normal flat roof. Prior to the platform update, I had always used the Spade Stony Goodness slab, which I had used for the pool here, for example, and I also used it for the chimney actually in this build, but platforms are of course a much better, really simple solution. And then I just expanded the build more and more. I knew at this point that I would like to have a lake around the house, so it's essentially like some type of lake house, and I just knew that I would leave a bit of space around it essentially. So I used a good amount of the space for the house itself. It's really big, but I knew I just had to leave a bit of space around the house to build my lake, and I really quickly used up all the space on a lot, so I really had to control myself here and had to make sure that I'm just leaving a bit of space around the lot for the pond tool. And I actually used the pond tool this time around. I've talked about this recently. I kind of forgot about the pond tool at some point, and I really like to use pools for all kinds of different things, but I remembered we have a amazing pond tool. So this time, as you will see, I'm going to use the pond tool, and we will just have a proper lake or pond going around this beautiful mansion. For the outdoor area, I've used lots of stuff from Perfect Patio stuff. I mean, kind of a no-brainer, makes sense, but if you want to have this style, it's just a perfect pack. And I just expanded the build more and more, just added a bit of just a couple of more rooms in the back essentially, and then I started to build the lake. I had no idea which color to use. I mostly like to use the watercolor from Jungle Adventure, which would be my recommendation for these modern but also really dreamy and just scenic builds, because it kind of looks natural, but it has a really beautiful blue tint, so it doesn't look like a boring green lake. I don't know, it just looks more dreamy, like a lake that you would see in a Disney movie or something, if that makes sense. So it looks kind of natural, but also dreamy. And I like this watercolor a lot for that reason. So if you're building a lake, a pond, and if you're going for this kind of vibe, I would recommend using the watercolor from Jungle Adventure, definitely. And then just some seating areas to just have dinner, barbecue on the outside, and I then started to work on the floor plan a bit. The build is gigantic, but at the same time, it could have been a lot bigger, but because I had to build the lake, it's just not as gigantic. And then I started to work on the front area, just some stairs, platforms, just some decorations. At some point I realized that I kind of forgot about the front part of the build and I just winged it, added some hedges, just made it beautiful. So this is where Sims enter the lodge, and of course the cool thing about Desert Valley is just having a view and just looking over the city of Desert Valley. It's just, the pinnacles in Desert Valley are just amazing, and I don't know what I would do without this world. Like, this was kind of the most game-changing world for me when it comes to Sims 4. Like, when Get Famous came out, when we got Desert Valley, it's just amazing. I'm a mansion builder, and this is just the perfect world for mansions. Yeah, I'm expanding the pond. The cool thing is you just lay out the shape of your pond, of your lake, whatever, and when you then use the terrain tool, which is used to just flatten out terrain, essentially, you just click into the pond and then you just drag it out, so you just kind of expand the terrain, and then when you let go, the water just kind of pops up, as you saw. So it's a really simple trick to just make a pond look bigger, essentially. And yeah, if you're struggling with the terrain tools, I've made a terrain tool tutorial in the past, a guide, and I can just recommend it. And as soon as you've mastered terrain a bit, creating all kinds of different ponds and lakes, maybe even different levels, is super easy actually. And I then started to furnish this baby. Of course, I'm using the new rug from my wedding stories. I'm saying of course because it's my new obsession. I'm always using it right now, and I don't know when I'm going to stop, but I love this rug so much. And it's just perfect if you want to fill huge spaces. It's modern, it's beautiful. And here I'm working on the kitchen. I love gigantic kitchens, but the floor plan was so weird on the inside that I just had to find a spot where I could build a proper kitchen. I've used so many windows because I wanted this modern look. I wanted to make it look like the reference, and I also wanted everything to be super sun flooded, that I ended up only having a couple of empty walls where I could build cabinets and stuff. So the kitchen is in a weird place, but after all it worked out. I've used some no-cc gallery art to have a kitchen backsplash. You will find the gallery ID in the description box and in the gallery upload. I just wanted to have a really modern vibe, just like the exterior, so there is not really a big difference. It's really white, gray, and black, just really monochrome, really clean, modern, minimalistic. I have placed a couple of plants over there from the Blooming Rooms kit. I thought that I would use all of them, but then I just had no idea where to put them, so I've only used a couple of them. I have used 2 tables. I combined 2 of them using Move Objects, and this way I just have a really huge area for entertaining guests and stuff. Here you can also see some more no-cc gallery art in the background. And I didn't want to put too much stuff in front of the window, just a bit here and there, so it wouldn't look too empty. This is what's so difficult about more modern huge builds. You don't want to put too much stuff in there, so it looks like these beautiful minimalistic modern mansions, but you also don't want to have like huge empty areas and stuff. This is the entrance area, kind of weird, I have to admit, like the whole layout. We have the stairs going up. I wanted to place a piano over there. The house kind of doesn't have a really typical entrance area. Also, you saw when I started to work on the front of the house, there are these gigantic stairs, and then you just enter the garden, the exterior area, and then there are just doors in different areas. I still wanted to set my heart at least on one entrance area, but again, it's not like a really typical hallway or something. It's just a bit different. And this area here is right behind the dining room area. I wanted to have a bar, just another area for entertaining guests, and I've placed lots of sofas in different areas, mostly the ones from Dream Home Decorator, because you just kind of have to fill the areas somehow, and also feel like it just makes sense for a mansion like this. And this here is the living room. It's kind of located behind the kitchen. I wanted to have a separate room, a really typical living room, just the family living room where you can just sit down and watch TV and hang out. There will also be a fireplace, as you will see in a second, so it's a really traditional kind of living room. It's not located in the whole open area, because over there we just have the entrance area, the gigantic dining room area and stuff. So this is a bit more private and just separated. And I've placed some lamps from Spa Day behind the cabinets. The cabinets are from Dream Home Decorator. I've also used them in the kitchen. So traditionally they are supposed to be used in a kitchen, but I just really like them. They are so modern and minimalistic, and I feel like you can repurpose them for stuff like this. I mean, you might think it looks weird, but that's kind of like up to you, I guess. And then I used these shelves from Dream Home Decorator, these little cubes, just to have a shelf behind the sofa. I just wanted to separate this room into two areas. We have the sofa and just the TV area. Behind it, we have another area to chill and just read a book at the fireplace or something. And this is one of the bedrooms, kind of the master bedroom, I'd say. There's also a bathroom right next to this, so it's an ensuite, and I just wanted to fill the space using some fancy objects, so it looks really just luxurious, like this wonderful round mirror from Get Famous. It's like illuminated and so beautiful. And I just filled in the area using my new favorite rug and just some sofas and stuff. Also, I have created a poll in the community area asking you if you would be up for another shell challenge, and most of you have said yes, so I'm going to create a new shell challenge. Also, someone has said that it would be better to have a smaller shell, and I agree with that, because I know that not everyone really enjoys huge builds, or it's just a bit overwhelming, and also you have to put a lot of work into a gigantic shell, like when you finish the shell. So I agree, I think a smaller shell would be better, so anyone can enter and just enjoy it. I think a smaller shell is just kind of for everyone. I still want to make it just a bit complicated and just a bit interesting, so I don't want to build just like a couple of rooms and that's it. I will see what I can come up with, so probably, as you have suggested, like maybe 30 by 30 max or something, probably even smaller. I will see what I can do, and I'm just really excited to see what you will create. Of course, I'm going to make a complete video where I'm like building the shell, where I'm going to explain the rules and stuff, so just stay tuned for this. I just wanted to mention this because I'm just so excited for this, like seeing the result of the poll, just seeing that you are up for this. And shells are always fun, and it's been a while. I don't even know when I have created the last one, but I'm pretty sure we will have just so much fun. This is one of the kids' rooms, so I also wanted to include some proper kids' rooms, so you can really let your sim family move in here. It's a proper family home. It's like really luxurious and over the top, but also a family home, so you could technically let any sim, any family move into this house, and just kind of it's like fitting for lots of different play styles and stories, I guess. And this is it. Here you can see lots of screenshots. This build is available in the gallery, CC free and unmodded. My ID is KateEmerald, and you can get the tray files on my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons. A big thank you to Asia, Dawn Bryce, Saturated Spark, Shanna McClam, Talena Lynn, 2Cats Tailoring, and Vicky S. Thank you so much for your huge support. Thank you to all my other Patreons, and thank you to anyone who watches my videos, comments, likes, and just supports me. I love you all so much. I hope you are doing well. I hope you've enjoyed this build and video, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.